He's the prime cut passer from behind the meat counter. It's Fairway Frank. And introducing a 6'3 center who's a cut above the rest. Say hello to Audie Crooks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Happy New Year. I hope that comes with a lot of Cyclone wins and some fun. So I can't wait to get started and talk about the Iowa State-Kansas women's basketball game today. Connor Ferguson will be joining me in the Wild Rose Casino studio. But before we get started, let's thank our sponsors. We've got Channel C, their title sponsor for both men's and women's basketball shows. So we're super excited. They're huge fans of Iowa State and Iowa State basketball and the Cyclone Fanatic podcast network. And then our friends over at Fairway. Again, they're huge supporters of Cyclone Fanatic and Iowa State. So we're super excited to have them on board. Connor, come join me in the studio. We got lots to talk about. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. We'll kind of get into it. Game times in 13 short minutes, but what can we expect from Kansas today?
Yeah, Kansas is it's a unique program. Brandon Schneider is the coach over there. He's been coaching for as long as I think I've covered Iowa State, or very early in my career writing here. But his teams have, like, if you were on a video game building a program, every year you got like 1% better. Like, that's what his teams are. It's been really cool to see how he's grown what Kansas women's basketball is, because they weren't very good when he first started. And every year they've taken another step. They've played a pretty good schedule this year. And I know they got shelved by Baylor by 20 the other night, but good Kansas team coming into Hilton today. And it's certainly not going to be an easy game for the Cyclones.
No, but the good thing is Iowa State's won the last 8 at Hilton, which I think that's a little boost that they need. I mean, especially coming off of this Christmas break. Do you think this, I think we talked about last time we were on, it was like a 9-day break. Do you think that that's going to influence the way that these girls come out and play today?
Yeah, and I talked about the negatives of a 9-day break. The good part is you're really eager to get back on the court and, reverse or get back for your last loss. So it could go both ways. It's rust versus rust. And are you healing up? Are you getting rusty and get off to a slow start today or something like that? But we'll see what Iowa State's able to come up with. It's always unique. It's an afternoon New Year's Eve game or New Year's Day game. So I'm excited to see how they come out. I think the start of this game will be something to watch for sure.
So who are a couple Kansas players that we need to keep an eye out for?
Samaya Nichols is the big one. She's averaging 21.4 a game. Just can score at ease for Kansas, and she's been really dominant for them and really kept them in some games. I was watching against Baylor for 5 or 10 minutes, and I remember a couple of the shots she hit, and that kid can really score the ball. Williams is their leading rebounder. She averages 6.1. She's going to be tough to stop as well in the post, and I think that matchup, her and Audie Crooks today, is going to be a fun one.
You're at Hilton. Do you think, Iowa State fans are going to be out cheering? Is it going to be a packed crowd?
It looks really packed. I went out to get a microphone out of my car and my headphones. Obviously, they did not work very well. I still got some out there, but I was out there, and there's a lot of people in that parking lot. Probably the most packed game I've seen for the women all year. So I anticipate a really good crowd. I think it's going to be really fun to see, and we'll see how that atmosphere is. But it's Big 12 basketball. Hilton, nothing gets better than that, right?
Exactly. So we know sometimes Iowa State comes out a little slower, and it almost seems like by the time they're really playing their best game, it's almost too late. What are a few things that Iowa State needs to nail down in, that first half of basketball for them to be able to come out with a win against this tough Kansas team?
So the first part of last season, and stay with me here. The Iowa State, this group has had an issue with scoreless droughts at times, and that got better as the season went on last year, and eventually led up to that Stanford game where I believe in this freshman core's careers, that was the best game they've played. That was the peak. Right now, obviously, you can improve off that. We haven't seen that this year. Iowa State's got to avoid those scoreless droughts, come out with some firepower, and keep it. They sometimes get in the lull, especially in those droughts where they're going to Audie Crooks too much or trying to shoot the three too much or something. They get one-dimensional very quickly. They've got to keep Kansas guessing and keep your opponent not knowing what's coming instead of it being Emily Ryan bringing the ball up the court, and we know she's passing it to Audie Crooks. Now, if there's a mismatch, that's a different story. So if you guys see that and you think I'm talking about that, it's different. But just keep people guessing and avoid the scoreless droughts. It's going to be huge for Iowa State going forward.
So it's 2025, new year, new goals. What are you hoping that Iowa State does in this new year?
What's funny is I just talked about them shooting the three too much sometimes. I want them to shoot the three more. This team has 3-point shooters. I think we talked about this in the last show too. They have, I think, out of all the guards, there's the three forwards. Out of all the guards, they all shot last year 38% or above. This team can shoot the three, get them their shots. They will eventually go in, and it has the makings of that classic Iowa State, we're going to shoot 25, 33s a game, and we're just going to score. I want to see it a little bit more. Other than that, I think Audie Crooks really wants to get better. I think all these girls want to have a very successful season. They're going to have to work really hard for it. You're 9-5 right now. Your resume needs a lot of work. Can they still host? Can they still be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament? I think so. I mean, obviously, if you go undefeated from here on out, you definitely can. But your resume needs a lot of work. So I think the biggest resolution there is to win some games and fix that.
Perfect. Mic drop. I think that's a great way to go in the new year. Connor, thank you. Get out there, cheer loud, have some fun. Let me know how Hilton is. I bet it's rocking. So thanks everyone for listening, and go Cyclones.